Gotta put those snacks away, man. What's up, everybody? Welcome into Touchback Tuesday on a Monday night, live before Monday Night Football. They match up tonight. Baltimore, another primetime game for them at New Orleans, who they've had quite a few primetime games. I'm not really sure why. I think maybe they expected Jameis Winston to be playing. Maybe Michael Thomas is back, Alvin Kamara. That could be some fun stuff to watch.
It's a pretty good game for Monday night tonight. I mean, of the ones we've seen a lot worse games than the one on tonight.
We do this every week. New Orleans is not good.
It's still a good game. It's going to be a good
Baltimore
game.
should win by double digits. We got Sterling back. What's going on, man? Good to see you.
How's it going?
Anthony and I went with black.
Funeral services. Today,
funeral, because
the Bills lose the game and you guys just start thinking it's all over, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's
bad.
Been debating back and forth, and I'm
got a lot to talk about with that one.
The Bills have a target on their back, right? You're going to get everyone's best shot, and I actually think the Jets are good now.
Yeah, the Jets are good. That was my point last week when I was freaking out and nobody else was. Against the worst team in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers. I didn't stutter there. The worst team in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers. And they almost beat us.
They lost to Detroit, so I guess it's not. I have no arguments.
They're the worst team in the NFL, and we almost lost to them last week. Man, we can't even get into the game yet, but the Jets were the better team. The Jets wanted it more. The Bills didn't care. They went out there and they didn't care, and that's what happened. They lose. You can't win games when you go out there with that attitude.
That's true. So I've been eating a lot and playing a lot of Modern Warfare 2.
Depression.
To kind of deal with it, because when you win a lot of games as a Bills fan, when they win a lot of games, you're not used to losing. It hurts more, I feel like.
Exactly.
Especially divisional games. We're not
division.
Used to
We're 0-2 in the division. That is
pretty I'm not that worried. I'm just not. You guys are jumping off a cliff. Anthony's just the whole season is going to shit.
Not the whole season, but you can't play like that. And I told you in the first half. I told you last week.
What's the Bills
playing like this is bad?
What's the Bills record right now?
Bad. Still number 1 in the AFC.
6-2. So is 6-2 bad?
No, that's very good.
Yeah,
record wise,
they're going to be okay.
The worst team in the NFL has 3 wins. Good for them.
But the Bills are going to be okay at 6. They're okay. They're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay. We're not freaking out.
The only thing, if you want to freak out about something, you should be freaking about the UCL injury to Josh Allen's elbow. That's what we all should be freaking out about. Really,
cause for concern.
I'm actually freaking out about
tomorrow.
I'm freaking out about Kansas City being 6-2 as well.
That's true. And did you watch that game too? I mean, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah,
I watched the fourth quarter of that game, and I'm like, oh, the Titans are going to win this, and they blew it. Totally blew it. So
yeah, I didn't think they were going to win. I mean, they came out and played. They played well early, but Malik Willis he ain't ready.
That's right. Ready. But they were pounding the rock, and then in the fourth quarter, like, you know what? We're going to give the rookie quarterback 10 tosses out of 12 plays. Like, no, just keep pounding the rock.
The read option worked, though. I thought Derrick Henry with Malik Willis, that's a whole different thing for Tennessee on offense, right?
They've already named him the starter for next week. So
yeah, that's a whole new dynamic for them. But
is he the starter because Tannehill's trash, or he the starter because Tannehill's injured?
No, I think that's why they came out and said he's going to be the starter next week regardless, because they want to move forward with him. We talked about that way in the beginning of the season. I did, at least, that, at some point they're going to say, well, we're not any worse with this guy in, so leave him in because we could get better and he could get better.
Yeah.
So right. It's not a quarterback driven team. We know that.
I mean, they got the division locked up here in week 9, so
I know.
Might as well, right?
Yeah. Got nothing to lose.
The division's locked up.
They could be the number 1 seed still. Don't count them out, even though the Bills beat them and the Chiefs and have the foreground. But yeah.
What we know right now, and tonight's game does matter. Baltimore at 5-3. They're currently 3rd in playoff standings, behind Kansas City at 2, Buffalo 1. Tennessee is 4th. That's their division leaders. 3 wildcard teams as of today, the Jets, Dolphins, and the Chargers. The first team outside in the hunt is the New England Patriots and Cincinnati Bengals after that. So AFC East this year, got to get into that a little bit. Hard to imagine here at 9 weeks.
Toughest division of football.
It is. No one saw that coming.
The only division with every team over 500.
Yeah. NFC, Eagles at top, number 1, Vikings 7-1, Seattle number 3, 6-3.
Good for them.
Tampa Bay with the win last night puts them at 4-5. They're now atop of the NFC South. We have the Cowboys, Giants, 49ers as your wild cards. Atlanta and the Commanders, first 2 teams outside the playoffs in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the breakdown. So we do have a game tonight. Baltimore 5-3. New Orleans is out of it. They're at 3-5. But Baltimore, they got a pretty good. They could afford to lose and they'd still be on top. They did beat the Bengals on the tie, right? So that's where we're at right now. Let's get into Anthony's maiden missed bets here.
Yes. It got a little ugly for us this week, only because of the pushes. You don't like the pushes, right? That just takes money out of your pocket. So we'll start at the top here. The Chargers, they won by 3, but they should have won by a whole heck of a lot more. So that was a big disappointment for me. I know they had a ton of injuries, but they just kind of put up a laissez-faire game toward the end where you knew they just were like, okay, yeah, I guess we're going to win. So this is fine. 3 points, a victory. At least they got the win. At least we didn't lose there, but it's a push. The next game, the Dolphins, this one really blew my mind. They came out fast early. We're up by 21. All of a sudden, before you blink at the half, the Bears have come all the way back and took a lead on them at one point. Miami does pull it off, but not by 5.5. So they do not cover, even though, the Bears traded away their defense and everything. That's a big X for me. Exactly.
Yeah, actually X's out my face, but yeah.
That was a stinker of a pick there, and a stinker of a game, really. For you gave up 32 points. You made Justin Fields look like the best quarterback of all time out there with the plays he was making, running and throwing the ball. And I mean, it definitely should bring up concerns for Miami's defense. But moving on to pick number 3 here, the Raiders, similar situation. They go out there and get a 21-point lead, and I'm like, yes, this makes it look like an easy pick. And they lose the game.
Yes, they did. In Raider fashion.
Like, oh, my God, Jaguars. I mean, I really thought this one was like, oh, okay, yeah, I was for my third bet. They're up 21-0. This isn't going to be an easy one. Nope, they lose. So they lost the 20-point lead. They lose the game. They do not win. So therefore, that was a big red X for me as well. We're 0-2-1 so far. The Vikings game, actually, by the time we aired this and by the time we put our bets in, it was -3. So that one was also a push. They won by 3. They should have won by a lot more as well. But winning by 3, that was one where I warned if Washington could upset them, but I still liked them -3. So that one was a push as well. Baltimore is playing tonight. Hopefully they pull out the win for me because I need them. Seattle, the big team, they got the victory. I did pick them to win this week. I took them with the points here. They are a win for me. So right now we're at 1 win, 2 losses, and 2 pushes. Not where I want to be. At the very best, if Baltimore wins, we'll be at 2-2-2. 2s are wild. And at least be another one on the winning side. So we're really hoping that Baltimore pulls it off. By the way, that's another line that when we made this graphic, it was -3. Right now, at least on Bet MGM, the line is only -1.5. Baltimore playing in New Orleans, so maybe that's why, but I certainly still like Baltimore -1.5 or -3. I'd take that bet still. So hopefully they can pull out the victory by more than 3 for me, and we can end up at least at 2-2-2 this week. But even with that said, my record on the year, the percentage has not changed much. It's at about 67.8% right now. So even without that Baltimore win. So we're still in the above 65%, which is absolutely insane, which is great. And we're bound to have. We have only had one losing week this season. I don't want to have another one. I'll take even this week. If it's 2-2-2, I'll take that. We have only had one losing week, and hopefully now that means we've gotten that out of the way. Next week, week 10 is going to be the week we go 6-0.
Yeah, I did check Taylor's site. You're at 50% on the season overall. I think against the spread, at 101st in the nation.
That's not bad. That's
take pretty it. Good. Hey, 50%.
With this year, yeah, it's been a crapshoot year.
Yeah. And I think my money line actually this weekend, especially, I picked all the right teams to win almost, but they didn't quite cover the spread, as we just said in my pick six here. It was similar along with some of my other picks this weekend, which I was kind of frustrated with, because it's like, oh, they were all that close. But that's why Vegas is Vegas, right? That's why they make the big bucks.
Yep, and that's definitely true. But doing a Monday night game here tonight. Ravens at Saints, kicking off here in about half an hour, a little over. What's your thoughts on the game, Sterling? What you got?
Well, the Saints suck, but Alvin Kamara is really good.
They don't suck.
They do suck. They suck. I mean,
they have been leading the league in turnovers. Let me check that. Okay, they're now third in the league in turnovers. The Patriots and Colts now lead. But all these weeks, we've been talking about the Saints. They've been leading the league in turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, they don't do it for me. I do like Chris Olave as a wide receiver. And Alvin Kamara's having a good year. I think this is the last year we see Alvin Kamara in a Saints uniform, though.
Yeah, is his contract up?
Anybody know? No, but he has a big contract.
I just think that he gets moved. I think it'd be best for them to just move from him, knowing that you're a franchise. I mean, you got to draft a quarterback, and you really don't. You're not going anywhere, right? Now, the NFC South in total, it's all bad, but you could be winning the division, but you're not.
And a lot of people had hype on the Saints for good reason. Right?
I had high
their defense is good, right? Defense good. They have weapons.
Be a playoff team, yeah.
I mean, we thought the quarterback would be okay, but we haven't really seen Jameis Winston at all.
Right.
So,
and then when he does play, he's injured all the time. I mean,
right.
And then he turns the ball over.
And we know Andy Dalton ain't going to win games.
Yeah. So I just think it's a wrap for the Saints. The Ravens still have I got the hiccups. The Ravens still have a lot to play for. I don't know why. The Ravens have a lot to play for. Lamar Jackson and these guys.
Right. I think Bateman out for the year hurts them.
Yeah, so
who do you turn
who they're going to throw. I think Isaiah Likely is probably going to start getting a lot more targets.
The two tight ends are going to be
North Carolina kid, underdog. Mark Andrews out for this game.
Devin Duvernay is going to be targeted a lot.
Kenyon Drake. I don't know. They don't have receivers. That's
how many teams has he played for? Is he the new Latavius Murray?
Yeah,
Latavius Murray's played for everybody.
Yeah.
And then they just got Roquan Smith, so it'd be cool to see Roquan Smith, suit up for them on defense.
But defense is solid. And that's why they're winning games with that rushing attack. It's very dynamic. They have so many different running backs in there. There's Gus Edwards. I mean, Dobbins hurt. Justice Hill, right? Is he hurt? I can't even keep up with them. And I made the mistake one year. I drafted J.K. Dobbins. I think this was last year.
I drafted J.K. Dobbins.
He got hurt, so then I got Gus Edwards. And he got hurt. So then I got like the third or fourth string running back, and he played pretty well for a while. I forget his name. I don't think it was Hill. It was somebody else.
Oh yeah,
not gonna remember probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got hurt too. So, and it's kind of seems to be the same thing. Gus Edwards still healthy, but Kenyon Drake
should have just got Lamar and called it a day, man. Right? Like he's the one that is racking up the points.
It's just kind of funny how they can't really field a team on offense, but yet they still win games. You know what I'm saying?
They're coached well.
It's Lamar Jackson, man. He's electric.
Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, man. They're good together.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Lamar
figured a way out to make it work. I think they're getting Ojabo back too.
Yeah,
Ojabo's been out all year. I think he's coming back. So.
Yeah, that'll be huge for them. And the big story with Lamar, though, is
could only go up. So
he's just when the games are close, hasn't really played well.
Yeah,
in those scenarios, but that's hard.
You don't have a real number one wide receiver. I mean, that's asking a lot, right? You're asking guys to make plays. Gabe Davis. No, we're gonna talk about Gabe Davis tonight. Can we just talk about the Bills tonight, because I got so much to say about
We'll get there. A lot going on around the league. Got to get there. But, who you taking tonight?
Ravens. It's not even a
I think
question.
we're all on the Ravens. No debate there. No one's going to be a little crazy yet. I've lost faith in the Saints. I think I picked them a few times. Anthony's picked them for like 7 weeks in a row.
That's right. Well, now your guy's the quarterback, and he's been screwing up more than Jameis Winston was.
Yeah,
so.
well, I thought Andy's supposed to represent no turnovers, but that's just not happening.
Nope, it isn't.
All right, let's get into the next topic. We have updated draft order. New teams on top because Detroit won. Right? Let me pull it up here.
The victory over those disgusting Green Bay Packers.
Right. Which team needs quarterbacks? Looks like the Texans going to be at the top. Carolina looking to be at the top.
All the NFC South teams need a quarterback.
So now,
right?
Yeah. That's true. Even the Bucks.
Yeah, Tom Brady's not coming back.
Yeah. Well, the Falcons, you can argue, have somebody they're waiting on. He's there. He's just not playing.
I mean, Ritter. You draft a young first-round quarterback and you let them battle it out.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed.
Everybody see that? You guys can see that.
Yep.
Anyway, sitting at the top here, we got the Houston Texans. Right, they're probably going to go quarterback at this point. And look, I get the top will change. Picks 1 through 3 will change. They'll all change. But the top 10 teams are probably the top 10 teams. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So
I got you.
Let's do this. Let's do that. I'll go through the 10. You tell me if they need a quarterback or not. And then maybe we'll talk about the top guys who are coming out, right? Just for a little bit.
Don't let Anthony answer.
Do they need a quarterback, or are they going to try and draft
already, Eric? He's doing it already.
Well, I see a team there, right? The Arizona Cardinals. Do they need a quarterback? In my mind, yes, they do. Okay. They don't have they got a terrible quarterback, but they're not going to draft one.
Let's go. Houston first. Houston, Texas. Davis Mills on the season. We've seen flashes from him. He played well enough to get another chance.
Yeah.
But 1-6 isn't going to get it done for them.
Yeah.
No, you need some hope at.
And they're
he doesn't give you hope.
I don't think they're going to win too many more games. So
I think the only reason that would be Davis Mills' downfall is if they have the number 1 overall pick, and there's so many quarterbacks in this draft this year, the Houston can pick their guy. Is it C.J. Stroud or what? Pick a name, whichever guy you like as the best quarterback. And he's yours. I'm sorry, Davis Mills. Even if you were just needed another year to develop, we got to go out and get this ace in the hole guy who we think is the best person in this draft. So I think that works against Davis Mills. If they end up closer to like 5 or 6, which is possible with these crappy teams up at the top here, then there's a conversation. Do they move on from Mills for him, for whichever quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, right? After this Deshaun Watson drama that they've had, they need a fresh start. So I think now is the opportunity, right? I think they're going to have a top 5 pick. So you got to go quarterback, especially there's a couple quarterbacks, at least 3, I think, that are first-rounders, right? Sterling's more a draft person, but C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young out of Alabama, and Levis from Kentucky. Is there any more?
Hendon Hooker, Tennessee.
Hendon Hooker. You think he's first round? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a slam dunk.
He's putting himself in the conversation. Yeah.
I mean, really, when you look at it, C.J. Stroud. These quarterbacks don't look. There's not a prospect that just wows you. I think they have potential. So far, I would say C.J. Stroud's the leader in the clubhouse, but I've seen enough of Ohio State to go, I don't know, man. I think these guys can go in the first round, but are they going to be like slam dunk, picks? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Will Levis is probably, it gives you, I would say, the most NFL ready of the bunch. I think Hendon Hooker will come in and do, I think, you liken his game to he's a very accurate passer. He can move. Maybe Justin Fields right now.
That's a pretty good comparison after this.
Yeah, right.
week.
After a good week.
Yeah. Justin Fields is kind of putting it together, but this quarterback class isn't anything to write home about, to be honest. And before the season, a lot of us had high praise that this would be the next good crop of prospects, but 10 weeks, 11 weeks into the college football season, I'm just not like one of these guys is a surefire slam dunk pick.
Yeah, fair. That's kind of the case every year. I know Bryce Young's been in that conversation after seeing Jalen Hurts' success, right? Because he wasn't a top guy, right? But can work up to it. I don't think you'll get a year one starter, somebody who's maybe ready to play right away this year. But I think if you look around and you pick one, who are you going to go with? It's got to be C.J. Stroud or
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young, right?
Yeah, I probably, you know what? To be quite honest, I'd probably go Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud.
Really?
Yeah,
that's not your Michigan bias speaking.
No, I'm telling you, man. I like to watch Ohio State just because I'm a hater. And what I see from it's like he has all the weapons in the world, but everything has to be going right for him to play well. I don't see, I don't really see him throw guys open. Like these guys are wide open when he's hitting them. I've seen him do it in the past, but just with consistency, I think he doesn't handle pressure well, but Bryce Young, to me, is more battle-tested, battle-ready than C.J. Stroud at this point.
Yeah, but C.J. Stroud's the bigger guy, right?
Yeah, C.J. Stroud is like 6'3", 6'4", I believe.
I tend to go with the bigger guys. I'll take the physical person over the person who's going to have more problems. Like we've talked about this a million times. I like Justin Herbert over Tua.
All prospects aren't Josh Allen.
Right,
but,
right.
He's different. You'll like Will Levis from Kentucky. He's awesome.
Also a big dude.
Yeah.
I don't know as much about him as I do C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young.
He transferred too, right? He wasn't always at Kentucky. He's a transfer guy. Maybe talk about his game a little bit, Sterling. You know a little bit about him?
Yeah, it's he's big, strong arm. Like I said, he's probably the guy that's most NFL ready. I think you get him in the right system. I think he could do a lot for a franchise. To be honest, he's got good touch on the ball. He has the ability to go through multiple reads. I just think that they don't have the weapons at Kentucky like he's used to having. They've had some pretty good weapons in the past few years, and I think they're struggling right now. So Will Levis is, I really do think he's. I think I don't know if I had to draft. Look, if Bryce Young's off the board, I'm not picking C.J. Stroud. When's the last Ohio State quarterback that you've seen that was good in the NFL?
True.
I watched him. I watched a few plays. And I tend to get into this later on, but he looks a lot like
crossers and drag routes, right?
I don't want to say he looks like Dwayne Haskins, but who's the guy that played for the Bills for a minute? I'm drawing blanks right now.
12 gauge, Cardell Jones.
Yeah, 12 gauge. Yeah, it looks like him. He looks like him, like style wise.
He's got more
better,
touch. I mean, he's got more tools in the bag in terms of like accuracy and touch. But Will Levis I think he can hit every. He's a great thrower of the football. I think whoever drafts him, it has to be the right system. Fair. You're gonna have to build him up. He has the mechanics and the makeup to be really good.
Right. He's got the size, right? I think the conversation is going to be C.J. Stroud over in Bryce Young.
Yes. Yeah.
C.J. Stroud's got the size, 6'3", 218. This is from PFF here. Got it pulled up here. Bryce Young, 6 foot, 194. That's small.
Yeah, I think you can get it done at 6 foot, though. I mean,
at 194, that's small for the NFL.
Look at him, man. I mean, have you watched him play? He's dynamic. He's good. He plays the game smart, man. And he has that ability to make things happen out of nothing, which is admirable. And I think he's a hell of a leader. Just from what I've read and heard, he's a great leader. So I think he'd be a guy very, very similar to Jalen Hurts. Just doesn't have the he doesn't have the ability to run the ball as well as a Jalen Hurts. But I think he'll be all right. I think he's good.
It's funny with the analysis you've done so far. The first thing I said in my mind is if I'm the one taking the quarterback, I'll take Levis.
Oh yeah.
Give me the guy who's big and has the talent, might have not the name. He certainly doesn't have the name recognition as the other two
Levis
in terms of what they've done in their college career. But give me the guy who's like a cookie cutter quarterback who's ready to go, right? And to me, that's Levis.
And I think NFL teams are going to look at him like that. When we get to the draft process, I think he's going to wow a few teams.
He might move up.
He
could end up being the first quarterback.
He could. right now he's probably 3 or 4, depending on who you're talking to. But I think maybe as we get through the draft process, I think he'll rise up to the top. Maybe he might be 1 or 2 before it's all said and done.
And the other name on here, Tanner McKee from Stanford, 6'6", 226. PFF has him ranked 3rd as the.
Look, when it comes to quarterback
prospect.
rankings, I'm not.
They vary so much, and they change
so
much. But that's where we are right now.
Yeah,
and this is actually from the summertime, so that's probably changed a ton.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to the top 10 here. We have Houston taking a quarterback.
Yep.
How about Carolina? I think they absolutely take a quarterback. No debate there.
Right. They got
the
to.
Raiders.
Crash.
I think Carolina ends up signing some other. Let's see, is Matt Ryan still available, or is they've got 2 quarterbacks there already they can't use, but they desperately need one. Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm the Raiders, they don't have to take a quarterback right now. I think it's coaching for them that's really trash.
Yeah, I think they just signed Derek Carr to a long-term deal. A few years
Josh
ago,
McDaniels. Derek Carr's a good quarterback. He's a good
gonna
quarterback. He's not the reason why they're losing these games when they're up 20-0. It's not.
If the Raiders are in the top 5, and let's say there's 3 quarterbacks they like, I think you consider trading Derek Carr for some picks, right? We can go full rebuild at this point.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you?
Because you have Devontae Adams, you've got Jacobs. Your team is not meant to be rebuilding right now.
Right.
If you're rebuilding, you're literally burning the whole thing to the ground. So if you want to do that, then do it. But you're going to be in last place for a long number of years.
I just think where they are right now, like we kind of saw the peak of this roster, they're on the downfall now. At that point, blow it up, start fresh, because you'll rebuild back faster.
I don't think they do that.
I don't think you do that. I look
too soon.
It's too. Yeah, it's a little too soon for that.
I think they have to, because they're still in a new city. They're still, establishing themselves there. I mean, NFL anywhere is good, but they are still trying to be in win now mode, and they're trying to milk it for everything it's got. And Derek Carr, although he's not a top even 10 quarterback in my mind, he's serviceable. He's very good. You should be able to win when you've got weapons around him like he has. You got to figure out what the actual issue is there. And I agree with Sterling that it's probably more coaching and scheme and figuring out what works best for them.
Yeah.
This is their first year together too.
That's going to be a tough one, because they've definitely, I think Josh McDaniels already lost the locker room, and it's only been 9 weeks. All right, next team, Pittsburgh. Don't need a quarterback. They're going with their guy.
I've said this weeks ago. I would really take a swing at a quarterback in this draft. I mean, let them battle out. You don't have to be married. You don't have to be married to the quarterback here. You know what I'm saying? Look,
to a first-round pick.
Yeah,
like the guy from Pittsburgh.
Guy from Pittsburgh. Yeah, like
you guys are reading the tea leaves. But here's the deal.
I like tea.
Mike Tomlin has never drafted this high before, and he's not going to be drafting this high again. Like, he is one of the top 5 coaches in the league. You're not going to be able to just be in this draft position all the time.
But here's the thing.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
So Pickett, albeit I think he's an okay prospect. He's okay. I would rather take a guy that has the traits necessary for today's NFL game. Like, you want somebody who's big and
more
strong, elusive, and can do the things necessary. Okay. So all I'm saying is, if you're going to spend it on a quarterback. If you're going to draft that high, get a quarterback and let him battle it out.
I like the more elusive argument. I agree that the way the NFL goes, that could be it. But I don't think they're moving on from the guy they got, who's from Pittsburgh. And what I do like about this, if you're Mike Tomlin, and we're talking about 3 out of 4 of the teams already that need a quarterback, then guess what? The best player in this draft is probably not going to be a quarterback. The odds-on favorite is that it is not a quarterback who is the best player in this draft. So if those 3 teams pick quarterback, then the best player in this draft just fell into your lap. And you can pick the best player in this draft. I don't care if that's defensive end. I don't care if it's running back. I don't care whatever. It's not going to be running back. But whatever the position is, you take that player and you've now upgraded your franchise again.
The only way they don't take quarterback if Will Anderson is on the board when they pick. That's the defensive end out of Alabama. If he's on the board, you take him.
If we've gone quarterback, there you go.
Yeah. You take him.
It could be. Only got 20 seconds left here, so I'm going to run through these. Detroit quarterback, probably, right? Jacksonville, no.
Nope.
Arizona, I would say no.
No.
Coach is going to go first.
Yep.
Justin Fields,
One more
Chicago.
year. One more
Chicago's
year.
at 8. Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
/ Jordan
Well,
Love.
he's gone, but they need to see what Love is. They
they've seen enough of Love.
You think?
You draft.
They've seen tough Love at this point.
Yeah, they done seen enough of him. Get rid of him. It's over.
It sounds
okay.
They don't know what love is.
They don't know it.
I want to know what love is.
That's facts.
That's good. Yeah.
And then number 10 looks like would be New Orleans. That's going to be the Eagles.
Definitely
so,
don't need
quarterbacks
they're
there.
good.
Well,
The Saints are kicking themselves now because that could be a quarterback.
Yeah,
it's a top pick.
So
top pick.
Anyway, we'll get into that more. That's always fun. Getting a feel on kind of what the quarterback's coming in, who's going to be at the top.
Where were the Colts on that list? Did we even?
Colts, they won a couple games, right? They're 3-5-1. They're at 14th.
Oh, because they're a team that desperately needs a quarterback at this point.
I don't feel bad for them.
Right?
They need a lot. They need a quarterback. They need a line.
They're the first team I think of where if one of those teams wants to trade down, hey, Mike Tomlin, give him a call. Hey, we'll give you every pick for the next 5 years if we can come up and get a quarterback, because that's supposedly what they've needed for, however long now.
Right.
Granted, they also just fired their coach.
Coach, right? So, a lot to fall there.
Yeah,
Jeff Saturday gets the nod.
From
wasn't even on
literally
the team.
doing what we're doing to going on to the
We're gonna pause this Brady stuff for a minute because we got to talk about this Colts thing for 1 minute.
I brought it up. Sorry, but that was
Matt Ryan,
quarterback. You think that was one of
Matt
the
Ryan getting benched, to me, I said they're tanking, right? They lost to Tennessee twice. They knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. They knew they weren't good. So to me, I thought it was Jim Irsay saying, let's tank, let's get a quarterback, right? That worked for me last time when Peyton Manning was injured, Curtis Painter played, and they ended up getting Andrew Luck. Right. So I think that was the strategy. And now look at it. They fire the coach, next move, right? They're keeping the GM, I would assume. Maybe they fire him around draft time, right? End of the year for the GM. But Jeff Saturday coming in from the office, not even on the team.
Right.
That screams tanking.
From ESPN, right? Like he was literally doing
hold on, though.
On ESPN.
Jim Irsay and Jeff Saturday are extremely close. And so I could see why he would make a move like that. But I think the timing of it is really off. And I don't think Frank Reich was a problem in Indy. It's the quarterback, it's the GM decisions look, man, ask the Denver Broncos, and they still haven't got this together. You can only, we've talked about this for years, guys. You can only kick that decision down the line so many times. You got to draft a quarterback. You have to go tank it, draft a quarterback, and roll with them. And this whole let's get these, Band-Aid replacement bridge quarterbacks that are on their last leg.
But the Colts have learned this the hard way too, right?
Yeah. It worked one time for them when the whole Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. But Andrew Luck was a generational talent.
That's 20 years. That's like 20-year period, right?
And they wasted Andrew Luck because they couldn't keep him healthy. Fair. At some point as an owner, you got to look at yourself and go, everybody else's fault.
Phillip Rivers was pretty good for them, but that was a 1-year deal, right? You can't just keep getting washed up quarterbacks. It's not sustainable.
And that's why I think it was more shocking for me that they fired Frank Reich. I mean, for the last few years, we've been talking about him as a top 5 coach in the NFL, right? Like he could have been coach of the year a couple of those years, especially in the beginning when he took Indy as far as he did.
Right.
So, that's a shocking fire. And I think it does lead me to believe more of what Eric's saying, that Jim Irsay actually had a plan here to tank and rebuild and wanted Jeff Saturday to come in at this point.
The problem is Frank Reich is going to win you a couple games and you're going to be in what the Bills were in for 20 years is we can't get up high enough to win a playoff or to draft a quarterback because we're trying to get in the playoffs every year and you're not making it. So you're stuck in this weird middle ground area.
You know what really bugs me about this though? You mean to tell me that on that staff, there wasn't anyone on that staff currently that could have been an interim head coach? No, so if you have a young, I don't know who's the offensive coordinator, who the defensive coordinator. Well, they fired the offensive coordinator last week, right? Maybe that's, I don't know. I don't
know who's coaching defense there.
Right. It just to right now, thinking about it, it just seems a little sketch. So you fire the offensive coordinator, you fire the head coach. You bring in Jeff Saturday.
Is it Gus Bradley.
Was he the coach there?
Is it?
See, February 7th, 2022, Colts hire Gus Bradley as defensive coordinator.
Okay, so
yeah, now you're Googling. I can hear the typing. March 14th, Colts hire 8 new coaches.
Man.
So yeah, Gus Bradley's been a good defensive coordinator, one of the more famous defensive coordinators. He had a head coaching job for a while too, right? He coached the Jaguars for a number of years.
Yeah.
Got the Jaguars to the playoffs.
I don't know.
They don't want to make the playoffs.
I don't know if I want to give it to old Gus Bradley.
I don't.
I don't know.
But man. Interim, then this does make sense for what Eric's saying. Actually, bringing in Saturday would make more sense in the off season when you're like, oh, now we want him to really have a chance to be our guy. So bringing him now is more curious than anything. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe firing the coach would. They've certainly underperformed. But yeah, Irsay, whatever he's doing it his way, right? He's doing it his way.
It just says Jeff Saturday has consulted for the Colts over the last few years. He visited training camp in 2022. He's not even on the team.
On the screen. Yeah, he's not.
He's a consultant.
Jim Irsay is doing Frank Sinatra, Lord. Usher, My Way. Is that what he's doing right now?
Yeah, right.
Because that's what it looks like.
Yes.
Craziness, man. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Pulling Jeff Saturday out of retirement to coach, be the head coach. You just skipping all the
I know.
levels.
He didn't even nothing. No offensive coordinator.
You think, why would someone say yes to that? Well, nobody can say no to.
It's gonna be weird seeing Jeff Saturday on the sidelines.
God! If they called me, I wouldn't say no. I'm not qualified.
Take the opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Well, at least call Peyton for. I hope they called Peyton.
Well, I don't know if Peyton and Irsay are on the best of terms.
Peyton's making more money sitting in the ESPN
I don't even
couch
care.
at home.
Let's say you're not getting along, but if you're gonna hire Jeff Saturday, at least call Peyton first.
Yeah.
Leave a message, leave a voicemail or text or something.
You hope.
Hell, I'm going to call Andrew Luck for head coach before Jeff Saturday.
You might as well, man.
Call Andrew Luck. There you go.
That was funny, though.
No, so they did say that they were trying to call Andrew Luck to come get him play quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm talking about coach.
Shit.
He's qualified. I think Andrew Luck visited training camp, so clearly that's the qualification.
Yeah, and so did Luke Kuechly with the Bills, and they're not calling him to play linebacker.
Yeah, there'd be.
You might know.
Or be the head coach. The head coach. Not even.
The head
God.
Coach. I mean, I'll visit training camp if that's the qualification.
Yeah, right. That's. I've been to plenty of training camps. Okay, I've been to plenty of Bills training camps.
That's like some.
I am not qualified to be a
government jobs or high up jobs like CEO or something like that, or chief or like somebody who leads the whole organization, and the qualification just says driver's license. Like, okay, so you got to know somebody. That's what you're telling me. Okay, yeah. But anyway, let's get into Brady before we get into the Bills. We'll finish the show out for a good half hour on the Bills. But Brady and the Bucs are back after 44-second game-winning drive. Fluke game or turning point? Let's spend a little time on this because this game was horrible. By the way,
I've been saying, it was ugly. I mean, they shouldn't have won it. Really, the Rams should have won the game, but I've been saying that sooner or later the Bucs it's gonna break their way, right? That these first few losses, they didn't matter to them. All they need to do is finish 8-9 and win the division and be on their way. They'll play a home playoff game with a losing record if they win the division with that losing record. But even if they turn it on and this was the turning point, I don't know if I'm ready to call this the turning point, but this is the, okay, we know we're better than what we've been playing at so far.
I don't even want to talk about this topic. But the deal is, he played terrible football this whole game. Comes back on a 44-second drive, and he's on the cover of ESPN this morning, and Brady's back, everyone, and the hell with Giselle, he don't even need her, right? But this game really was not great.
Man, it's
overhyped is my.
I don't even. You know what? To be honest, I don't even care. I mean, I think we expect Brady to come in and win at the last minute. I think both these teams are hot garbage.
Yep.
That's what we're really. So it's like putting so much heaping praise on what you've done in the past, not what you are right now. Exactly. And I think both of these franchises they're on their last leg in terms of we know what the Rams have done. They've given up all these draft picks. and they are counting on these late round draft picks to fill meaningful positions, and it's not working anymore, right? Even though you have Matthew Stafford, your offensive line is not good. You don't know what you are at running back. You have one wide receiver and another one that's trying to get healthy. You're not good, right?
Yeah,
the Bucks are the same. Right. The Bucks are the same way. You got an aging Mike Evans.
It's bizarre.
Chris Godwin is coming back from the ACL. You can't run the ball. You don't have enough. Your offensive linemen are injured, and you got a 50-year-old quarterback.
What is happening?
That just lost his wife.
You fired a great head coach. Brady's been trying to get out of there he tried to join the Dolphins. Now he's trying to join the 49ers. So I'm not shocked that he's kind of losing the locker room there because he's just trying to get out of there. So it's like,
yeah, he's going to weddings, right? He went to the wedding in New England.
44-second drive, though. The guy's he's a champ. They're dead last in rushing yards
against this Rams team that has been playing like absolute crap. Again, I think roster wise, Tampa Bay does have players, does need to figure it out. They have much better shot than the Rams right now, who have just all the wheels have come off and you don't have any depth, and that is finally catching up with them. Whereas Tampa Bay, I feel like, has all the players they need. They need to get healthy. They need to play on the same page. They need to figure it out, and I believe that they will, enough to make the playoffs, even if they don't win the division as one of the wild card teams.
And they were my Super Bowl pick, but
hopefully.
But it's just the best odds, right? I think the Rams and the Bucks were 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point in the season, we're now halfway through. I think this is a fluke game. Look, they got to start winning now. They can't afford to lose too many more, right? I mean, they can make the playoffs and lose out, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders at all.
What's the goal? Like these guys aren't Super Bowl contenders.
No.
You're just existing at this point. That's what I feel like. Like both of these teams have been to the mountain. They've tasted what a Super Bowl win feels like, and they're nowhere near that. I mean, you talk about I don't see them beating any team in the NFC East except the Commanders.
No, and like I said, they're dead last.
They're playing well now too. So
right. So
here's how bad they are at rushing. They're dead last with 546 yards on the ground. They've had 3 rushing touchdowns, which I think is dead last. Yeah, they're tied for dead last in that too. But they haven't had a bye week yet, so they have 9 full games. There's 3 teams ahead of them who had a bye week with more rushing yards. Steelers, Chargers, Rams. It's just not getting it done here.
They can't run at all. Yeah, and that's going to be, they have to figure that out. They got to figure something out. There's not being dominant in the run and then just completely not being able to run, right? I think Brady's had more pass attempts or something like that in the last few games than he's had in his career, or comparatively, or whatever. It's
you can't run, so you're going to put this team and the success of their offense on the back of a 45, 46-year-old quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Who's not clicking with his current receivers.
I mean, just
although
put him,
Cade Otton, the young tight end, actually is a guy I like with him.
Well, it's like, and everyone's reaction after he wins that game is, he's back and he's Tom Brady, right?
I know.
It's not the same Tom Brady, but I just
wait till
because this
week.
Keeps happening, he gets the media hype. There was a pass interference call on that drive as well in the red zone. Say what you will about that, but the refs either they let them play 75% of the time and 25% they're going to call that. It's just odd to me. But I digress. But Tom Brady's going to be on a cane. He's going to be sitting on the bench the whole game, and then when there's 44 seconds, they need a touchdown. They're just going to put him in. That's what they need to do.
They need to Tom needs to retire, man. Let's just, or if you draft a quarterback first round and Tom wants to, teach this new guy the ropes, that'd be fine. I would be okay with Tom.
There's no plan. There's no new guy yet. I don't
even think you have a good head coach.
That's what's crazy. He drove the head coach out of town, and there's no backup plan because it's Tom's show. But yet you hear in the media he's trying to get out of there. San Francisco next year. I'm trying to own the Dolphins. So it's like, what are you doing, man? You're not above the game, and that's what drives me nuts. You're not above the game or the team. Anyway, I'll leave it there.
Build him up and let him fall. That's what I say.
That's what I just wanted to hit on that. So thanks for playing. Buffalo now 0-2 in the AFC East. Lose a tough one to the Jets, 2017. Are the Bills built to play from a lead in the AFC? Let's use the race car analogy. If you're racing, there's someone to chase, right? That's motivating. Every single corner you're trying to cut, trying to make it faster and faster. Envy drives the economy, right? In a racetrack, envy. I want to be in first. This guy can't beat me. This girl can't beat me, right? I feel like the Bills are more their persona, what they've been taught, what they've been drafted to do is chase somebody, chase a team. They're chasing Kansas City. They've chased New England for years. I don't think they're quite built to play with the lead, like, be the team to chase. Because you have an underdog quarterback who has gone in leaps and bounds over what he was expected to be. You have an underdog head coach who loves the underdog mentality. He drafts players late and starts them because he loves the underdog mentality, right? There's a 6th-round pick starting at cornerback right now, who's actually playing pretty well. Good credit to them. Look, not trying to bash anybody here, but I see this team as a team that's hungry and they're envious of other teams. I don't see them as a team that's going to sit at the top of the AFC and win all the games, right? They're not the Colts who will go 8-0 5-6 years in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's multiple issues with what happened with the Bills both last week against Packers and this week. There's multiple things going on, multiple layers you can take it. But the one that was most concerning or the one that bothered me the most is exactly what you're speaking to, Eric, which is this team for the first time in the Josh Allen era, I'll say. It looked like they had no heart. It looked like they did not care. They came onto the field. They're the better players still. You're the better roster. Even with all the injuries, the guys who are out, no excuses. You are still better than that Jets team. But you know what you didn't have more than that Jets team from the opening kickoff to the end of the game? Heart. That Jets team is doing what Eric talked about. They are the underdog. They are the ones nobody gave a chance to make the playoffs this year. They are the ones whose quarterback got destroyed last week because he had a bad game, even though his team was at the time 5-1 or 5-2 and now 6. It's disrespect, right? They had a lot to play for. I knew they were going to come out guns blazing, and I said it at the end of the Packers game. Come out and play like that, and you're going to lose. And what did they do? They came out, that first interception on the first drive, Josh Allen throws a red zone interception. By the way, Bills lost by 3 points, so that alone lost you the game. That first play lost you the game, regardless. So he loses the game on that first play, or loses the momentum. At least you know that at the beginning, and the Jets come out blazing. So it was a combination of so many bad things, but the lack of heart, to me, there's no excuse for that. Coaches, whatever, Josh Allen himself, the look in his eyes. I think I might have texted you guys this. The look in his eyes after that interception when he came back on the field, I've never seen him look like that either. I just looked at when the camera went to him and I'm like, he looks scared. Like he looks like he doesn't want to be there for the first time ever. Josh Allen is usually the guy with the stare in his eyes who's up by 20 and he still looks like he's going to kill you, right? He's still coming after you. So even though he had, those 2 rushing touchdowns and everything, there was something tangible that was missing there. Missing. And we can talk about the injuries as well. The only other point, I'll let Sterling talk to his points because I'm sure he wants to say a lot more about that. The only other point that I'll make that we all know, and anybody who's listened to us over the years, I'm a Matt Milano stan and have been from day one, because Matt Milano there, defense good. Matt Milano not there, defense bad. All of a sudden, we've got 25 names on defense that are incredible players, and one guy is gone and you all suck. Step the frick up. No excuses. Von Miller made 2 plays. The rest of the game, he should have been on the bench. He looked terrible out there. Over pursuing, over pursuing. I was like, what the frig is Von Miller doing? We're playing one of the worst offensive lines. We're playing one of the worst quarterbacks against pressure, and we can't get any pressure on him. Rousseau was injured as well in this game, which hurt. But still, get after the quarterback. Where was the pass rush? That was what everybody was preaching during this game. Von he made those 2 big plays, and without them, we would have been in much worse condition. But the whole defense, where were you? Matt Milano is the entire freaking defense. Nobody can tackle without Matt Milano on the field. Nobody can stop the run without Matt Milano on the field. Nobody can cover the wide open receiver without Matt Milano on the field. One guy cannot mean that much to your defense, because if that's the case, you're not going anywhere in the playoffs. You're not going anywhere if something happens to one guy and your entire defense falls apart. That is, the good teams aren't built like that. So, and that's where I'll now pass the torch. There's a lot more we can talk about. There's a lot more to cover here with the Bills in this game, but that's what I wanted to say for sure.
So here's the deal, man. It's one game, right? And they didn't play well. Well, we're just talking about, they're still the number 1 seed in the AFC. But I think we need to get, so it's never as bad as we think. It is never as good as we think. It's somewhere in the middle. So the middle is they played a good Jets team. And maybe they didn't take this week as serious as they needed to. Also, they were down 3 defensive starters in the game. Okay. We need to be real about Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver is not playing the way we expected him to play. Jaquan Johnson really doesn't need to be he just needs to be playing special teams, and you don't ever want him playing considerable snaps on defense because he gave up tons of plays, just not there. Bernard is another one, and run fits.
Ugh.
The Bills still haven't figured out the run game in terms of defensively stopping the run. They still struggle with that. And a lot of it has to do with the style of defense they play. It's a bend, don't break, So I think when you expect Ed Oliver to be the guy, like when I watch Quentin Williams, you go, oh, like that's a dude, right? But when I watch Ed Oliver, dude, it's like, man, I want him to be so good, but he's not. He's okay. He's okay. That's all he is right now, right? And then you got, defensive end, Von Miller, his pass rush lanes were awful. Boogie Bash's pass rush lanes were awful.
Way behind him, yeah.
Carlos Bash, Epinesa is hitter. He's what are we doing? I still hate the pick. I told you guys when we drafted him, and what has he done? Nothing, right? You flip it to offense. I think it's time that we start having the conversation about Gabe Davis not being as good as we think he is, because he's not. He disappears in games. And people, I don't know if it was you guys or if I was on another podcast. So I was like, yo, just your ankle injury doesn't have anything to do with your hands.
We did talk about that. His mental toughness. Yeah.
He's missed big opportunities. He's missed big opportunities this year. And the drops, like we talk about the Miami game. If he catches that pass, Bills win. He didn't catch it. And he missed 2 or 3 passes that game. Yesterday, he disappeared.
Dropped 2 passes. Yeah.
Dropped 2 passes. And the last play, I tweeted out what I just told y'all. I tweeted out before the last play happened. I said, I think it's time that we start having the conversation about Gabe Davis not being as good as we think he is. 5 minutes later. I mean, I am so sick of Scotty Miller did this last night with the Bucs. I'm sick and tired of wide receivers trying to catch the ball with their damn body.
Yep.
Gabriel Davis, you are a size, ball skills guy. Catch the ball with your damn hands. I'm sick and tired of it. We talk about, Gabe Davis is going to command $20 million a year. Well, shit, send him somewhere else. Trade his ass this offseason. I'm serious. Yeah. Because I can get a rookie to do what you do. You got 16 catches, 18 catches in 8 games?
I think he's much more suited for that wide receiver 3 or, gadget play, line him up. Send him this way.
Isaiah McKenzie, he's not good. He is a gadget player only.
So what's gonna solve the problem here? We're gonna bring in.
No, I'm not done yet. All right, and right tackle is a problem. Right tackle's been getting worked all season. I don't care if it's Brown or Quessenberry.
Brown's been out. Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying it's been between the two. They've been getting worked.
All right.
Lots of pressure on Allen.
So you look at this team and you go, yeah, man, like it's just Josh Allen and it's just Stephon Diggs.
Oh my God!
We don't have
Diggs
a good running game.
was the only one making plays.
Yeah.
Out there.
So
it was so sad. When I talk about heart, take Diggs off that list because that man played with every bit of heart you could play with, and he was the only guy who looked like I want to beat this team. Where's everybody else? Like me. It was sad to see that he's the only one. I agree on the Gabe Davis point, especially. I said during draft coverage when we were with the other network. And I was on the draft coverage and everybody's like, oh, Gabe Davis, wide receiver 2. What do you feel? Even before that, I'm like, he had one good game in the playoffs. We can't crown him wide receiver 2. He still has to earn that position. He's got to earn it. And he just hasn't done it this year. He's proved that his better role is not as wide receiver 2.
And I got beef with Josh Allen too. Look, man,
he had a terrible game.
He knows he's the best quarterback on the planet, but you got, man, it's like, don't get lazy now. Don't get lazy now. Like, still prepare like it's week 1. Like, we saw Josh Allen in the first few weeks of the season, very methodical, not making mistakes, like taking it serious. And it's now he's getting a little too comfortable. I think maybe the whole Super Bowl hype and we know we're good. We know we're good. It's getting
back
to our heads.
Initial point.
It's getting to our heads now. And if people say, well, no, Josh Allen's still human. And he's just like us, man. And he
has a high volatility.
He's a young kid. He's 25 years old. Like, I think they're reading the press too much. So they need to get back to square one and start playing football the way they need to play.
That's the thing, too, is they're crowned the best team in the NFL. I've heard many analysts say they would beat Philadelphia. And I think if you look at who Philadelphia's actually beaten, you might agree.
Yeah.
But Buffalo, that might be the problem, right? They're kind of getting a little cocky, a little lackadaisical. Look, all teams go through this, but I just think the way the Bills are built, everybody on the roster is an underdog, except for maybe Tremaine Edmonds. He's the only guy drafted who is not an underdog. We kind of knew he was going to be good, right? Maybe Trey White, not so much an underdog, but everyone else on the roster is a 5th-round pick who's starting, who's now one of the better players in the league, right? Matt Milano comes to mind. We had Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, who teams moved on from them, right? That's their persona. That's what the coach has been preaching. So when you're crowned number 1 and you're expected to win the AFC and you beat Kansas City and you beat, Baltimore, I mean, you kind of accomplished your goals, and I don't think anyone thought the AFC East would be as good as they are, but Miami's a real team. The Jets look like they're a real team. Questions on quarterback for the Jets. I like Miami's quarterback a lot more. But do they need to be the underdog to be successful?
Listen, this is what I think about it. We're not in the locker room, so it's kind of hard. I think this team is made up of veterans and leaders. I just think like you said, everybody's going to take their bet. They're going to give you their best shot. And it's the NFL. You're going to lose games. They're going to lose 3 or 4 games this year. And that's, they're going to have, I think if Josh Allen plays this week, they're going to come in, they're going to beat the snot out of the Vikings. And we're all going to forget about the Jets.
Yeah, I'll forget about it.
But I think we got to give credit to the Jets. We got to give credit to the Dolphins because they're better football teams than what we've seen. And the Bills are going to be fine. But if we think that my takeaway from all that to say this, if we think that this team has all the weapons that people are heaping praise on, we do not. They need Odell Beckham Jr.
Yes,
so for all the people out there who say, well, we don't need Odell Beckham Jr. and no, you do. You actually do, because Gabriel Davis gives you nothing in terms of separation. His route tree is very limited. At least with Odell, he's going to give you electricity. He can run a full route tree, right? And he's somebody you have to pay attention to.
Exactly.
And
my argument here would be I'll take Odell at 60%, right? I don't care. He doesn't need to be 100% diving Odell one-handed behind the back catches. I'll take him at 60% and he'll be exactly what this team needs to get that shot in the arm and take that Super Bowl.
He's talking to Dallas, other teams in the mix.
I'll tell you this.
He wants to deal allegedly longer than just 1 year.
McDermott needs to get off his freaking high horse about not playing rookies, because you don't have the luxury to not play rookies now, because your team in some areas suck. You suck at wide receiver outside of Stephon Diggs. Play Shakir. You pay Dawson Knox all this money, and you don't game plan.
Yeah, where is Dawson Knox? Where is he?
So
he's having some mental issues.
I have issues with the offense.
He lost his brother.
But the Bills need to get it together. They're still good. I still think they're the best team in the league, but I think that the shining, the armor is not as shiny as we thought it was.
And the Josh Allen situation, we talked early on about when we started the show that he's getting evaluated for injury. Hopefully that comes back cleared. We're supposed to know more by tomorrow, so hopefully that comes back clear. But this was the first game since his rookie year that I was happy he was running the ball in the red zone and not throwing it, right? Like, oh my God, he looked blind on the 2 throws against the Packers, and then a couple of bad ones in this game. 2 got intercepted, more should have been, where there were 2 guys who were wide open, and he's throwing it to the covered guy, and it's an easy interception or a bad route or whatever excuse you want to make. It was a bad throw, right? It's on Josh Allen. And for the first time, I was like, please run. Don't try and throw the ball right now.
Right. We'll say, Josh is, he's had a lot on his shoulders for a long time. This is not just him. It's all the quarterbacks in the league. It's a lot to carry around. He's, leading a city, a desperate city who wants to win so bad, a coach that wants to win so bad, it just weighs on you. You got to talk to the sports psychologist. Right? All these guys do that. You got to stay confident. You got to stay hungry. And sometimes you need some downs. You got to have some bad games so media starts feeling the fire again, right? That's kind of what's going on here. But
my major concern for the Bills, believe it or not, the biggest thing that I was watching during this game was not the Bills game. It was the Vikings game. And I was like, please, Vikings need to win this game. The Vikings desperately need to win this game so that they come to Buffalo feeling good about themselves and the Bills feel like the underdog, right? Like, here we go.
I think it's working.
This was wonderful. This is exactly what I wanted to see. More of this, please. Come in with confidence. Come in with that smile on your face.
If this ain't confidence, we got
fans in Buffalo.
We got a tweet up here
Bills Mafia,
from Pardon My Take on Twitter. Check it out. Kirk Cousins went from "I'll have her home at 9, sir" to "she calls me daddy too." For our listeners, two pictures here. We got the press conference picture with Kirk Cousins, who literally looks like a dad.
Or a farmer, with his.
And then we got
shirt.
Kirk Cousins shirtless on the airplane with over $1 million worth of bling on.
Yeah,
that's a big difference, folks. Big difference. So I'd say Minnesota is confident at this point.
Yes, they're feeling good. That's exactly what I want.
It's like Russell Wilson before Sierra to Russell Wilson now.
A lot changed there too.
Hey, it's funny.
So did his football.
Last thought on the Bills, though. I'm making a bold prediction that Kansas City wins the number 1 seed this year.
Stop it, dude.
It's happening. Let's take a look. Look at Kansas City's schedule the rest of the year.
Yuck, Eric.
Unbelievable.
Yuck.
This week they got the Jaguars. They got the Chargers. Toughest game remaining on the schedule, you could argue, is the Chargers or the Bengals. We got Jaguars, Chargers, Rams, Bengals, Broncos, Texans, Seattle, Broncos, Raiders.
Seattle's pretty good right now.
Chiefs aren't going to lose another game. They might lose to the Bengals because they've, lost them twice.
And the Bills, our hardest game coming up. I mean, we play Minnesota, obviously.
Minnesota's tough.
But the Jets again. We got Miami again, both at home.
Minnesota, Cleveland. Then we got Thanksgiving with the Lions.
That should be.
And you got the Patriots twice, the Jets and Dolphins once, and then the Bears, and also the Bengals on there. January
so the
2nd.
Bengals are the other hard game. Yeah, the Bengals.
But these division games are the hard games.
Right.
The AFC West
is a joke.
If Kansas City loses to the Broncos, I don't see that happening.
No.
Not the way they play offense.
No.
And they're definitely not going to lose to the Raiders at this point.
No.
So, and the Bills got to play Bill Belichick twice, who they embarrassed last year. They're going to get their best shot. The Jets and Dolphins are hungry. Their fan bases are hungry.
Eric. Don't bring that up, man. So, I want to see that Kansas City team come to Buffalo in the playoffs, not vice versa.
Yeah, well,
we've been there. We know we can do what we can do there. I want to see them come to our house.
Right. And they haven't.
I agree. When you play like that, it makes sense. But I want to hope that the Bills really prove to be the best team in the league and they get that number 1 seed.
Yep.
Right.
It's going to be competitive down to the wire now.
Because look, I don't think that much of Tennessee, and they stuck with them with a rookie quarterback. I think Seattle at this point beats Kansas City just because that run game is so strong. and they you know what I'm saying?
Big statement.
They can play their game. Yeah, they could play the.
They can hit you in the mouth. They can hit you in the mouth. Is that game played in Seattle or is it in Kansas City?
Let me check real quick. It's in Kansas City.
Oh,
okay. But I think they can match them. But it's like this. Every week, teams are going to give the Chiefs and the Bills the biggest shot, their best shot. And so, on record, yes, it looks like the Chiefs are going to be the number 1 seed, but they're going to lose to their Jets. The Chargers can beat them. The Raiders can beat them. The Broncos have a good enough defense that could beat them. You know what I'm saying? So I want to pump the brakes, but I get where you're saying. I get where you're saying.
We're going to pump the brakes, right? Because football doesn't work that way. You can't just predict they're going to win every game, right? But when you look at strength of schedule, Baltimore and Kansas City have a much smoother ride to the number 1 seed than the Bills, which can be good or bad because that'll get the Bills battle tested for the playoffs.
One last counterpoint to this. We've been talking about the Bills. I want to give the Jets credit. They played their hearts out. They played very well. Every start to finish, every position, running game. Zach Wilson, they came in with the right game plan of how to beat the Bills and what to do right. Yep. Their defense was strong. They came after Josh Allen well. And I said it coming in when we did our preview show about the Jets, right? That this line came in was minimum 10. At one point it was 13. I said this game is at the Jets Stadium in New Jersey. This is disrespectful to the Jets. The Jets are playing very well this year. Their record is very good this year. They're playing top of the charts on defense. You're giving them a 13-point underdog? That to me was stupid, and I said it on the show. It was. Yeah. And that makes twice this year that the Jets have been, in my mind, the biggest joke by Vegas. Like, what? Vegas? You had them as a huge underdog against Green Bay, who I said that was the most ridiculous line I've ever seen. Bet your house on it. The Jets are going to win, and the Jets did win that game. They were 13-point underdogs there. And now against the Bills in their own house, I thought the Bills would win the game, but 13
you look
ridiculous.
At the factors, though, like the Jets quarterback was embarrassing 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And now
you have to make him conservative, or otherwise you're going to lose. The other thing too is their running back, Breece Hall going down for the year. They bring in James Robinson, who actually played well, but you just can't predict that stuff. So when you run the odds and the probability,
but it was really their defense. Their defense did it, but not 13 points.
Yeah,
no, it should have been more like
it's
5.
Their coaching staff. The Jets
not
have
even
a phenomenal coaching staff, and they have a lot of talent on defense. That's enough to win in the league. I mean, Baltimore's been doing that for years.
Yeah, that's true.
They have all the momentum in the world too, and they're going into their bye week now. So
going into the bye week, they got the Patriots when they come back November 20th. Then we got the Bears for the Bears-Jets. They got the Vikings, then Bills-Jets, then the Lions and the Jaguars, both at home for the Jets.
Tough schedule, some ups and downs there.
But they're going to make the playoffs. Jaguars. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to. Well, they also have to play the Bills and the Patriots, who just pounded them.
And in the last 2 games for them, Seattle and Miami.
Seattle's a playoff team. Miami's going to be fighting. Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough, but these divisional games are so important.
They'll make the playoffs. So remember, I also said on the show we were talking about the Jets. Who's going to make the wild card? And I said the Jets, and we were getting laughed at a little bit. And I said, no, the Jets are legitimately going to make the playoffs this year. And now they beat the Bills and puts them in really good position too.
Yeah, we have meaningful football in the AFC East for the first time.
This is great.
10 plus years.
Yeah, I'd rather it not be this year or next.
I know, right?
I mean, the year after that.
Everyone
couldn't
talks
we just
about
get one that was an
Dolphins rivalry. I've never seen a Bills Dolphins. I've never seen them compete for the playoffs. Maybe the last 2 years is the closest they've been.
And we own
Miami 9 wins, Miami 10 wins the year before that. That was the closest I've seen, but it's always been New England the whole time. Anyway, let's get into rapid reaction to wrap this up. 1 take per person. Let's do this quick, right? Thursday night football, Eagles at Texans. Anthony, what's your take on this game?
Texans did well to perform and compete. Eagles just missed the covering of the spread, which was disappointing, but they did what they had to do and got the extra rest coming into this next week. So good for them. Staying undefeated.
Yep, staying undefeated. Eagles win a game they're supposed to win. Sterling, Miami at Chicago. Chicago plays them tough. Final score 35-32. Miami's offense is the real deal, man.
Yeah, Tua continues to be a solid answer for this offense, and Justin Fields is getting better. But this game should not have been this close. That's the thing. The Dolphins defense is still struggling. And well, let's hope Bradley Chubb brings some more stability to that defense. But right now,
that's why you make a move, right?
Yeah, that's why you make a move. But I don't have hope in that move. So yeah, Dolphins win.
Yeah.
Yep, and the Dolphins got to keep it going, right? They got to be consistent. Tua's 6-0 as a starter that he starts and finishes. Pretty impressive at this point. Carolina at Cincinnati. Cincinnati dominated all day. PJ Walker gets benched in this game, had 9 yards passing in the first half. Anthony, any takes on this game?
Baker is now garbage time QB. Baker is now right where he belongs as a garbage time QB. Sam Darnold activated by the Panthers, by the way, so he might be the starter next week. Who knows?
Hey,
Bengals started so fast. Joe Burrow's stat line doesn't even look that great, and he only played like 2.5 quarters because that's all he needed.
That's all you need.
Take a huge lead.
All right, Sterling. Chargers 20, Falcons 17. Atlanta loses the lead in the division to Tampa Bay. They're both at 4-5. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not impressed with the Chargers, man. Like, you got Justin Herbert. He's supposed to be as good as Josh Allen. He's not. This coaching staff, Brandon Staley, they got to get it together. This is supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach, and their defense is not very good.
Chargers got no one to throw to.
Yeah, that's
kind of where they're at right now.
Lots of injuries.
But
Palmer had 100 yards, so good for him.
Who? No,
Josh
Palmer.
Yeah, third running or wide receiver.
All right, Anthony, your favorite team, the Packers at the Lions. I think it was a 5-game losing streak that got snapped on this one, maybe more.
I picked the Lions to win. You know why? Because Green Bay is trash. Worst team in the NFL. Worst team in the NFL by far is the Green Bay Packers, and they proved it in this game against the Detroit Lions, the worst defense in the NFL, and you scored a whopping 9 points. 9. Aaron Rodgers, 3 interceptions in the red zone, or at least close to it, or maybe it was within 30, but 3 interceptions in the opponent's field. That is ridiculous. He's not playing well. The receivers aren't playing well. The offense stinks. The defense stinks. The special team stinks. I've been saying it since week 1 of the NFL season this year. It's not going to be put together for this team. Good look for the Detroit Lions to be able to get this monkey off their back, I guess. It's not a big momentum changer for them in terms of their record or where they're going this season, but good for them.
Yeah, good for them. And the Packers, Romeo Doubs gets out in this game.
And he was their number 1 at this point.
Aaron Rodgers says they can rally and win some games. I just don't see it. I think they're going to have a good draft pick. Sterling, Colts at the Patriots. Mm-hmm. You know,
I can't even I can't even give the Patriots credit for this game. I mean, the Colts they got the Jay Cutler-itis. They don't give a fuck.
I mean, bring in Jeff Saturday. At least he's like,
it's
at least I like to drink beer with that guy. You know?
Yeah, the fans will come just to see Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, listen to Pro Jam and watch Jeff Saturday coach. But I'm not really. The Patriots they're okay. I mean, they got a good defense, but they have nothing on offense really. So yeah, the 26-3, you're supposed to win that game. So it's a good win for you, I guess.
Patriots right now leading the league in interceptions at 10. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one here. It's actually turnovers in general, not interceptions. That's fumbles and interceptions combined at 17.
Okay.
Colts are second. Sense. Both of these teams lead the league in turnovers. Bills, Jets.
Yeah. This one to death.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
Raiders at Jaguars, Anthony. Raiders had an early lead in this one.
20-point lead. I mean, come on, Raiders. What did you do? 20 points you were up. Come on. And you blew it to the Jaguars, who have been so up and down, and you had them pinned down. This, to me, speaks volumes to what the Raiders are. And that is not a good team, right? Your coach needs to be fired over this loss specifically. You're supposed to be competing for a playoff spot, and you have 2 wins. That is solely on your coach and the coaching staff, right? You have the weapons. You could give me Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Derek Carr, and I'm winning more games than this coaching staff right now because I'm going to tell them, go out there and play football. Whatever you're doing wrong, okay? And the defense is part to blame here, but the defense can give up points, and when you have those 3 pieces that I just mentioned, you should be scoring more points. Even if you give up 30, you should have 38. You have that squad. So no excuses here for the Raiders. Your season is over. You suck. You need to fire your coach and start over. but you're not in rebuild mode, as we talked about in the quarterback thing. You're not drafting a quarterback. You're not starting from scratch because this team and this squad is still ready to win now. The Jaguars, good on them for the comeback, but I give no credit to them. I mostly give it to Oakland. Yeah, see, you have Oakland there, but it threw me off. You have the Raiders for falling apart.
Yeah, not great by them. Devonta Adams came alive, but they just can't seem to be consistent, right? Vikings 20, Commanders 17. Pretty close game. I think the Commanders led a lot of this game.
Yeah, they did actually.
All the way to the fourth.
Listen, they iced out Kirk Cousins at the end of the game, which was awesome, and I'm so glad you posted that. It's cool to see, we give Kirk Cousins a lot of grief. Yeah. It's cool to see him relate to his team and kind of, let his hair down a little bit. I thought that was pretty dope. But I hope they do it all week when they come to Orchard Park or Bills Stadium, whatever the hell we want to call it these days, Highmark Stadium, who the hell knows, that the Bills and Josh Allen, if he's healthy, can come in here and mop him up. Now, to give you a little preview, I think the Vikings are going to lean heavily on Dalvin Cook this game.
So I think the Bills are going to lean heavily on Himes, Cook, and Singletary.
And
Trey White.
And Josh.
And Case Keenum.
And Trey mother-freaking White, who should have been playing this week. We didn't talk about that for the Bills. But
I think
if you don't have Trey White in this game against that team, you're in trouble.
Kirk Cousins, he likes that. The crowd was chanting, you like that. And he came back and won the game. So props to him, man.
It's his former team. Yeah.
All right, Seattle 31 at Arizona 21. 6-3 Seattle Seahawks, folks. And the Cardinals, no way the coach survives.
This is what I call the Cardinals. I would say you are who we thought we were. This is exactly what we said you were all year. Underperforming, not good enough. Always going to be on the other side when there's another good team playing. And the Seahawks, wow, just wow. Your season is incredible. You're way overperforming for what anybody ever expected. We expected them. I said at one point I thought they could be the number 1 overall pick. Instead, they're leading the division. They're going to be hosting a playoff game. So certainly didn't see that coming. They once again come out here and play their game. They have an excellent run game with the guy I like the best coming into this draft, Kenny Walker, and he's been just on fire since they made him the lead guy. And, Geno Smith's still getting it done with his wide receivers there. They've got great weapons, and he's finding a way to get it done. And you look on the other side, and it's the opposite, right? Kyler Murray finally gets his number 1 wide receiver back, and they still can't put together more than 21 points in a game. Not good enough. Not good enough.
And Coach of the Year right now is Pete Carroll.
Probably.
I think so. All right, Sterling. LA at Tampa. We touched on this one, but what a terrible game.
Both these teams suck. It's time to move on.
They cannot run the football.
No.
Rams 31st. The Bucks are 32nd in rushing yards on the season.
Yeah, I just think that, both these teams they're not meeting the expectations that we've had for them. I'm sure they feel it in the locker room. And they have franchise quarterbacks, and it's time to call it quits, and the other, he needs weapons. And I was teasing a couple guys saying that he left to win a Super Bowl, but he's on the Detroit Lions again because that's what they look like.
Yeah, not great. But Brady, the 44-second fame, I can't get over it. The guy's been bad, but they want to put him on the cover of Sports Illustrated because he led another drive. Oh, well.
Yeah.
All right, last one of the night here. We got the Tennessee Titans with Malik Willis. Come up short versus Kansas City, but hell of an effort by them.
Yeah, this one was heartbreaking for me. I was like, oh, Tennessee's got a lead. I bet Tennessee, so I'm happy because they were minus 14, which again was another one of those like, that's way too many points in this game. Tennessee is a division leader playing well. So I won the bet, but I was hoping that they would win the game in the fourth quarter. They were just running. They were playing their style of game and beating Kansas City, which is what we said they probably couldn't do, right? Controlling the clock, playing good defense, stopping them when they needed to. And all of a sudden in the fourth quarter late with 9 minutes left or so, they turned it on their heads and all of a sudden wanted the rookie quarterback to throw the ball 9 out of 10 plays. And you end up punting twice and allowing Kansas City to score twice to win the game. And it was just absolutely embarrassing, sad. The 2-point conversion attempt that they did literally 4 times because of penalty. I mean, it was just stupid. At that point, that was to tie the game. They needed the 2-point conversion because they had missed a extra point earlier in the game. So they needed the 2-point conversion to tie it at 17. They had 4 shots at it, and it was just penalty after penalty on Tennessee's side. Some ticky-tack calls, some no calls by the ref on Kansas City. But ultimately, Tennessee had to play their game, and they stepped away from it, and they ended up losing. And it was just stupid on their part.
Willis, not ready. Doesn't look comfortable, but definitely I think gives them the best chance to win. What do you think? Does Ryan Tannehill come back? Or are they going with?
No, they said that Malik Willis is their starter. So next week at least. Well, they have not said moving forward, but next week.
Right. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna debate that one. Maybe the preview show we'll talk about that a little bit because that's a good debate. Yeah. Athlete versus cognitive, right? I think Ryan Tannehill is a smart player. He's not over the top. He can sling the ball better than most, but no running ability at all, if very little, if any, right? So that'd be fun. Could we see 2 quarterbacks? I've seen that in the past, right? They're kind of in that weird situation. But game right now, Baltimore is up by 7, and with no receivers again.
Likely, Isaiah Likely. We said he could. Isaiah Likely, the tight end, scored the touchdown. Yeah, we said that in the beginning.
I know. It's just funny though. Maybe they'll call up Jeff Saturday to play receiver. I don't know.
That's funny.
But thanks for stopping by. You can always find Sterling on Buffalo Rumblings. Got the intentional grounding logo in the background there. If you haven't checked out his preview show, please check that out on Buffalo Rumblings. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for Touchback Tuesday. Us 3 next week. Check out Anthony and I Thursday live. The show comes out Friday, and we'll get you ready for week 10 already.
Get it?
10 weeks, double digits. Can't believe it, but we're here. Remember, toss your hat in the ring.